Well, thank you, Stuart, for everything you do, because it's a lot. As Stuart said, PRECISE-TBI is an interagency research endeavor. The VA is our primary funder, but as Stu said, when we go and meet with our program officers, we have a room full of program officers from all the agencies, which has been both challenging but also very rewarding. Our goal really is to enhance rigor, reproducibility, and transparency in our research with the goal of getting to translation, because everybody in this room knows how challenging it is to translate from preclinical to clinical. One of the missions of the center is to provide resources to the community that will enhance your research. So what you can see here are some of the resources we're going to talk about today. There's the common data elements, so that we all start collecting and sharing the same data. There's the open data commons for TBI. So we all have a single place where we can put all of our data and share all of our data. We have a TBI preclinical models catalog, which I think moving forward as more and more data is out there is really going to help us design our studies and also to focus our research. We have the open field blast core. For those people who don't know, we actually have a blast core in the country where you can study blasts in an open field, and you'll hear a little bit about that. And then there's education and outreach, which is partially my responsibility with this center. And as you look around the room and as you're wandering around NNS, just in case you want to know who we are, Dr. Floyd and Ferguson are our fearless leaders. Yes, Adam? Oh, you're just saying hi. Hi, that's Adam. Michelle and Neil have been on the crusade to get the CDEs together and get people using them. Our models core, Ed and Monique. Outreach, which is me and Pam, and then Catherine and Zhang are part of the open field blast core. The other really critical part of our endeavor is that we have an informatics team, some of whom are actually paid for off of this grant, some of whom are paid off of other grants that Dr. Ferguson is involved in, such as ODC TBI and Pan Neurotrauma. So that's Marianne, Jeff, Russell, Abel, Anita, and PJ. So you're going to see them around. These are all people who have a real passion for this mission. So if you have questions at any point today, any point during the conference, just grab us by the shoulder and say, hey, I have a question. Can you help me out? You'll also be able to find most of us at the booth at some point during this conference. Just so you have a sense of what we're going to do. Today we have day one. You already saw Stuart up here again. Thank you, Stuart, for everything you do, and the VA for everything they've done. I'm giving the introduction. We're going to move into an introduction to data science and common data elements. We're going to talk about applying common data elements to what's called the tidy format. So you'll get a little bit of that later. Tidy format is the way we're going to ask you all to start saving your data moving forward, or entering your data. There's going to be a wrap up at the end of today before we move to day two, where we're going to have a funder perspective from our DoD counterpart, a little more introduction to the project, some interactive workshop with data science, and then talking about how we're going to use our data moving forward. This is supposed to be an interactive workshop, right? We're going to have some exercises for y'all to do. If you have questions at any time, please raise your hand, right? This is supposed to be a discussion, a conversation. Stop us at any point. We're also going to have an open Google document that you guys can link to. You can see the link on the piece of paper in front of you. So if you're not comfortable raising your hand, please put the question in the Google Doc. PJ and I will be following the Google Doc, and we'll try to answer as quickly as we can. So I come from a small lab. I'll probably say this like 14 different times. I am not a data scientist at all until I got involved with this project. And so my first year, there was a bit of a slow uptake because people were using a lot of words that I didn't really understand. So one of the things we wanted to start you with today is some key terms. You're going to hear a lot about the FAIR principles. The new policy from the NIH, and it's going to be VA and DoD as well, is that all of your data has to be findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. Okay. I've completely bought in. I'm totally sold at this point. We're going to talk a lot about metadata. So these are data that are really important to the core of your experimental design. We're also going to talk about a data dictionary. I'll tell you, everybody in here, when they put their spreadsheets together, has a different column name, a different row name. And if I look at your sheet, I'm not going to understand it unless you have a data dictionary, which tells me how to understand your rows and columns. Common data elements you're going to hear a lot about. Mapping data is when we take data from one and map it to a new format. Data harmonization is when I might take my data and Monique's data and Michelle's data and put it all together in one big data element. So this is harmonizing our data. Open Data Commons is a free place where we're going to store our TBI data. And you're going to hear a lot about the paper of the future, which I think is going to change the way we all do science. Right now, we have publishers who put arbitrary word limits that limit how much we can put in our methods. They limit how many citations we have. Why in a digital world can't we have all of our methods out there, all of our citations out there, links to our data out there? So you're going to hear a lot about the paper of the future today.